A couple was forced to sell their dream home. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian here, and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. Grab your stein of coffee. Let's check out this news.com.au article about a young couple that were forced to sell their dream home. I hate that term, dream home. I know I'm an architect and I'm meant to be playing it up. It's your dream home, you'll love it forever. No, it's not. Dreams change. Dreams change. So let's check this one out. So a young Brisbane couple, so this is my city, are forced to sell their dream home due to rising interest rates. They've forced them into making an impossible choice, and it's a scary reality many Aussies are facing. Yes, well, a young Brisbane couple could have been forced to sell. They weren't, okay? They were not forced to sell their dream home after they could no longer afford the repayments. The cash rate currently sits at 4.1%. I'm recording this in about 5 minutes. I'm just checking the clock. Where's the 4 minutes? The RBA is going to announce if the rates will go up or not, and I'll do a video about that. And I'll probably release that one before this, so we'll have to see where it went. But the cash rate sits at 4.1%, the highest it has been since 2011. And Aussies aren't just feeling the pinch, they're going under. Well, not really. We're not seeing a massive amount of people going broke yet, or forced sales and even non-performing loans. They're not that high. We haven't reached pre-COVID levels yet. So, Alex Mackley, did I get that right? 34, is a landscape gardener. And previously his full-time wage had been more than enough to support his wife and young daughter. But over a 12-month period, Mr. Mackley's mortgage repayments doubled, and it crippled the young family. Now, let me bring up this cash rate. Did he believe that the RBA wasn't going to lift rates until 2024? Or that they were always going to stay low, or they didn't appreciate the actual impact of the repayments going up? Because the media was repeating the statement that rates weren't going to increase until 2024. Now, those of you watching the channel you're not normal, okay? I hate to tell you this, lads. You're not normal if you're watching this, or lasses, that you're watching YouTube videos about the economy and construction and finance and property. The normies watch Koshi and make their financial decisions based on the headlines. So, but let's have a look at how much of a haul he got himself into here. So the couple, who were previously in a relatively good financial position, they bought their house with a hefty $300,000 deposit. $300,000 deposit. So that's a huge deposit. That's decent. But pretty quickly, their $400,000 mortgage became unmanageable. $400,000 is not that much of a mortgage. I would assume that is manageable for most people, but wait till we see. On a semi-fixed income, with a young child and a partner that works 10 hours a week, it did, he told news.com. It was stressful. He found himself in a position where his whole weekly pay was going into paying off the mortgage and their bare minimum bills. The young dad was bringing home around $1,180 a week when the mortgage repayment surged to $600 a week. So let's bring up calc. What are they saying? 1179 times 52. After tax, 60 grand. I'm assuming that's after tax. If it's before tax, that's even worse. So, 600 a week, that's even 400 a week plus the wife's hours. Yeah. Their mortgage doubling meant they couldn't afford their usual bills like childcare payments and mobile phone plans. Mobile phone, $15 each, or $10 each. You can get it, a month. Childcare payments, if she's only working 10 hours a week, why are they in childcare? Doesn't the government subsidize the hell out of childcare? Or is it this messy situation where she's not even working enough to warrant working because of all the extra costs associated with working? When he crunched the numbers, he needed about $1,000 a week to live on, and suddenly couldn't afford it. He explained he was left with about $100 to his name, and suddenly their financial situation went from normal to impossible. I have no savings. So I'd have to use credit cards to pay my bills. How did they get to this point? This is the thing. I mean, we got screwed around with our bank. Honestly, we wanted to keep some money aside to do renovations, and they counted it all as part of the deposit and took it. We should have had it in a different bank account. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe why didn't he keep some of that aside, that 300 grand, to not all be a deposit, to have an emergency fund? Because that's what this is for. Maybe they burned through it all. The family tried to rein in spending, cancelling their contents insurance, streaming services, and even their internet connection, but they still couldn't get ahead. He admitted that in the past they didn't have to be bargain shoppers, but suddenly they found themselves in a whole new position. How could you save 300 grand by not being vigilant with your money on that income? Maybe it's an inheritance or a windfall. How does that work? To build up a $300,000 buffer. I don't understand. I'm scaring myself as I'm dropping things everywhere here. Even just going to the grocery store reminded them of how tight things were money-wise. If it wasn't on special, we probably wouldn't buy it, he said. We were looking more for clearance items as well. Look, everything got cut back. He even changed his job to save more. I took a job where I got a company vehicle so I didn't have to have a car to pay for, he said. Meanwhile, his partner took on extra teaching classes as a Pilates instructor, but while the extra money helped, it was all just causing further stress. It put more strain on our family situation because I would go to work during the day and she would work weekends, he said. The couple ended up making the hard decision to sell their home, which fetched $750 grand, only $30,000 more than the $720,000 they originally paid for it. Why on such little income is he borrowing or buying a $720,000 home in Brisbane? He should have moved to Logan. He should have moved further out to less glamorous suburbs and bought a $500,000 home and just gotten a $200K mortgage and drove a little bit more in the morning. Then he wouldn't have had the stress. They bought too much house. They bought too much house. I mean, look, it's a beautiful house. Nothing wrong with it. But when you're bringing home 60 grand after tax with a $700,000 mortgage, they've only got a $400,000 mortgage, but still, the small profit helped cover the standard cost of selling a home, and they downsized to a townhouse with a more manageable mortgage. Okay, this has probably been the best outcome that could ever have happened. They've gone in there, they bought too much house. They've realized they've bought too much, and they've downsized. They've bought the starter home, the townhouse. I had a mate, he's doing very well, he's quite successful. He works for a big multinational company. And what he did is he bought himself a little townhouse, I think down in Logan Way there, in a kind of a bit of a rougher area, but perfectly fine. And that was his starter house. He bought it. I think he paid it all off really quick. He's a smart bloke. And then he went inner city Brisbane and bought himself a nice, expensive place with a pool that he bitches about having to maintain. But, I mean, that's what you're meant to do. This is the level 2 house. You got to start at the level 1 house, the shit house, and then upgrade. That's what you've got to do. Or be stupid like me, start at the negative 2 house and buy a fixer-upper. Dominic Beattie, money expert at InfoChoice, said millennials are the demographic being most impacted by rising interest rates. With over 57% of millennial mortgage holders spending more than 30% of their household income on mortgage repayments, this generation will be feeling the pinch of a rate rise the most. Mr. Beattie pointed out that many young borrowers took on large home loans when rates hovered around 3% or less. Now rates are double that, and we're seeing the stress on these young families taking its toll, with many having to reduce family activities, which can lead to more family arguments. Well, here's a really cheap family activity. Wake up early, go to a local park, cook $10 worth of sausages while the kids play. And then get a blanket, lie down and have a coffee. Or even if you're feeling extra lucky, cook a steak. That's a family activity. You don't need to spend money doing family activities. This is coming from the Data 6. Okay? You want to know how to do cheap family activities, just ask me. Go to the State Library, Queensland, Children's Play Corner. Park them there. Let them play. Mr. Beattie said that rising interest rates are driving people to refinance their home loans in desperate attempts to save cash. Whether that's to get a lower rate, take out a fixed rate, extend the loan term, or release equity, he said. External owner-occupier refinancing, that is, loans moved from one lender to another, hit its highest of over $14.1 billion in May. Let's have a look at some of the comments. So he needs $1,000 a week to live on, so he couldn't afford the mortgage in the first place. Don't cry about losing your dream home because of interest rate rises when you couldn't even afford the mortgage from the start. From Darren, yeah. Only people that are going to win out in this situation is the foreigners. They'll be buying property up. No, it won't just be the foreigners. Australia is now, the classes are dividing. You've got the property owners, you've got those that don't. There'll be people that have support from family that can come and buy these properties. It's not just going to be the foreigners. Don't blame them for that, Ted. Damien, why did you need to use childcare if she only works 10 hours per week on weekends? Yeah, that's a... There's this bullshit that people believe that you need to socialize a kid in childcare. Yeah, no, you don't need to. Just have more. Yeah, just pump out a few more and they socialize each other. How are they affording it before rates went up if you need $1,000 a week for living expenses? I mean, $1,000 a week for living expenses, that's $4,000 a month. There's only 3 people. What the hell are they spending their money on? I think they need to tighten their belt a bit. Anyway, let's have a chat about this one, eh? In the end, it's a happy ending. They've got out of the bigger house that they didn't need. They got a smaller one. There's only 3 people, 1 kid, 2 parents. You could get away with 2 bedrooms. And they're probably less stressed. This is the happy ending, guys. They've learnt the lesson. Now watch the Dave Ramsey go down the crazy path. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Take care, guys. Check out Heiser BIM or Heiser Does. And if you're a fan and enjoy the content, support us on YouTube or Patreon. Use our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call me if you need an architect. Take care. Have a great day. And I'll see you next time. I'm going to go and record that RBA video. Let me bring up the website here while I'm doing the outro. And no, they kept the rates flat. There you go. I'll have to see what the Giga Chads, the financial Giga Chads of the channel, said on the poll.